Clint Eastwood's daughter was detained at the airport, but what her father did next will blow your mind. The airport terminal was crowded, but something stood out among the chaos. Clint Eastwood's daughter had just been detained by security. The tension was palpable as airport staff began questioning her, and a quick call was made to bring in the police. Everyone in the vicinity was left wondering, what had happened? Why was she being treated this way? But little did they know, this wouldn't be an ordinary celebrity encounter. The moment Clint Eastwood arrived at the airport, everything changed. His expression was stone cold, and the air around him felt charged with an unspoken authority. As he walked toward the security desk, a few whispers floated through the crowd, but no one could have anticipated what would happen next. Without a word, Clint reached into his jacket and pulled out an object, something that made everyone freeze in place. "If you don't let my daughter go, there will be consequences," he said, his voice calm but heavy with a quiet threat. The security officers were momentarily paralyzed by his presence. This wasn't just another celebrity meltdown. This was Clint Eastwood, a man known for his unflinching resolve. "Do you know who I am?" Clint's voice dropped low as he locked eyes with the head of security. The tension in the room was thick, the air almost suffocating. The camera zoomed in on Clint's unyielding face as he continued, "I didn't come here to play games, let her go." The room fell into an eerie silence. What was the object he pulled out, and why did it have such an effect on everyone? What exactly did Clint Eastwood reveal in that moment? His actions spoke louder than words, but the mystery remained. The clock was ticking, and what would happen next? What would you do if Clint Eastwood were standing in front of you? How would you react in this situation? Just when you thought it couldn't get crazier, Clint Eastwood drops the bombshell that no one saw coming. The scene was set. The security officers were still standing frozen in shock, unable to process what Clint had just said. The object he pulled out remained a mystery, and the air was thick with anticipation. Clint's eyes narrowed as he stood there unflinching. His voice, still as calm as ever, echoed through the room. "If you don't release my daughter immediately, we'll have a problem." The head of security, now visibly shaken, glanced at his team, uncertain whether to follow procedure or bend to the unseen pressure that Clint's presence created. But Clint wasn't just any celebrity. He was a legend, a man whose reputation was built on never backing down. He had faced much bigger threats in his career, and now standing in that airport, his resolve was unshakable. As the tension built, Clint took a step forward. Suddenly there was a shift in the air, something wasn't right. "This isn't about you," Clint said, his voice soft but carrying a weight that made everyone around him second-guess their next move. The head of security hesitated. What Clint had in his hand was no ordinary item, and it seemed to hold a power far greater than anything they had expected. As the officers debated amongst themselves, Clint took out his phone and made a quick call. "I'm done playing nice," he said into the phone. The room fell silent as his words sank in. What was Clint planning next? Was this about to escalate in a way no one could predict? But who was on the other end of Clint's call, and what was he about to unleash? The tension was building to a boiling point, and the next move could change everything. "What do you think Clint's secret weapon is, and who was he calling?" Just when you thought Clint Eastwood couldn't shock you any further, he makes a move that no one expected. The call Clint made was brief, but the reaction from the security team was immediate. The moment he hung up, something in the atmosphere shifted like a calm before the storm. Clint stood there, his jaw clenched, eyes locked onto the head of security. A few seconds passed in eerie silence before the unexpected happened. Without warning, the security officers began to back away. The situation was spiraling. What had Clint said to them on that phone call? And more importantly, why had it left them paralyzed with fear? Just as the tension reached its peak, Clint finally spoke again. "You know, this could have been avoided. You've made a big mistake." His voice was quieter now, but there was a chilling certainty in his words. He turned to his daughter, who stood motionless, still caught in the web of confusion. "Let's go," he said simply. But just as they began to move, a new figure entered the scene. one that Clint didn't expect. A mysterious individual stepped forward, someone who wasn't wearing a uniform but seemed to carry an authority of their own. Clint froze for a moment, his eyes narrowing. The room felt as if time itself had slowed down. Who was this person, and why did they hold so much power over the situation? The air was thick with tension, and as the mystery person took another step toward Clint, a question echoed in everyone's mind. What was really going on here? Who is this mysterious person, and what role do they play in Clint's move? And most importantly, why were they here at this exact moment? What do you think? The moment Clint Eastwood saw the mysterious figure, the entire situation took a shocking turn. What happened next? No one could have predicted. The room stood, still as the stranger slowly walked toward Clint, a calm yet powerful presence. His footsteps echoed in the silent airport terminal. Clint's eyes didn't waver, but the air around him shifted. He had faced some of the toughest adversaries in his career, but this was different. The figure was tall, wearing a dark coat that concealed his features. There was something undeniably intimidating about him, a weight that made the air feel thick with tension. Clint didn't flinch. He squared his shoulders, ready for whatever this was about to become. The stranger stopped just a few feet away, his eyes locking onto Clint's. "You should have stayed out of this, Clint," the figure said, his voice low and unnerving. The tension was unbearable. Clint's reputation for never backing down was well known, but in this moment even he couldn't help but wonder, who was this person and why were they so confident? As Clint prepared to speak, the stranger pulled out something, a small device no bigger than a phone, and pressed a button. A strange hum filled the air. For a second, no one moved. The security team, still in shock, watched the scene unfold like a high-stakes movie. Was this some kind of high-tech trick? A hidden camera stunt? But there was no laughter, no cameras. Just the unbearable weight of real danger. "You think you're the only one with power here?" the mysterious figure added, his words dripping with a dangerous certainty. Clint's face didn't change, but deep down he realized the situation was about to explode in ways he couldn't have anticipated. The situation had gone from bad to catastrophic. What Clint had thought was a simple airport incident had turned into something far bigger and far more dangerous. What was the device, and why did it make Clint freeze for just a moment? The clock was ticking. With every passing second, the stakes grew higher. The question now wasn't just about Clint's daughter. It was about everything Clint held dear. Who was this person, and what did they want with Clint? And most importantly, why was Clint frozen in place for that one moment? What was on the line, and who was really in control here? Tell us what you think happened next. Do you think Clint can handle this mystery figure? Just when it seemed like Clint Eastwood had met his match, he did the unthinkable, an action that no one saw coming, and it changed everything. The mysterious figure's device continued to hum softly, and Clint stood there motionless. His eyes were locked on the figure, calculating his next move. But then, in a flash, Clint did something so unexpected that it left everyone in the room speechless. With a swift movement, Clint reached into his jacket and pulled out a small piece of paper. The figure's eyes flickered with uncertainty as Clint slowly unfolded it. "You thought you were the only one with secrets," Clint said, his voice low but steady. "You don't know who you're dealing with." The room was still. The security officers, the mysterious figure, and even Clint's daughter waited for what would happen next. The tension was unbearable. For a moment, no one said anything. Then, with a sudden jolt, Clint slammed the piece of paper onto the counter in front of the stranger. "This changes everything." The mysterious figure's face went pale as he stared down at the paper. "Where did you get that?" The words were almost a whisper. The truth was about to be revealed. That small piece of paper was a document that could expose a secret organization, an organization that had been pulling strings in Hollywood for years. Clint had known about it all along, and now he was ready to destroy it. The figure took a step back, realizing that the power had shifted. "This is bigger than you think," Clint said, his eyes narrowing. "You've been playing a dangerous game." The figure wasn't the only one holding a hidden agenda. Clint's calm demeanor was a mask for the storm of revenge that was brewing beneath the surface. The truth, the documents, everything had been set in motion long before this. Airport encounter. "This isn't over," the mysterious figure muttered before quickly backing away, disappearing into the shadows of the airport. Clint's daughter was finally released, but the real battle was only just beginning. As Clint and his daughter walked out of the terminal, a sense of victory filled the air, but it was bittersweet. The war had just begun. The mystery behind that document was only the beginning of something far more sinister. What did Clint uncover in that document, and who is this secret organization? This wasn't just about Clint Eastwood. It was about uncovering a hidden empire that could change the world as we know it. What's Clint's next move, and what happens to the mysterious figure? Let us know your theories in the comments. This isn't the last you'll hear of this.